What's up, Rockstars? How's it going? Welcome to 2021. Hopefully this year is much better to you than last year. If you had a bad year. If you had a good year last year, hopefully it's just as good, if not better. Now, with a new year comes a new Kickstarter update, this time focusing on January. There's a lot that's coming out, but there's not a lot that's out right now. So let's go ahead and discuss all the updates and kind of what this situation looks like right now. As always, I'd like to start with a quick shout out to my patrons and YouTube members. It is through their financial support that this channel is as independent as it is, so that I do not take any money from any game developers. So when I critique, it is my honest opinion and not my wallet's opinion. If you appreciate that and can, there are links down below for you, but if not, that's fine too. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, I have a bunch of really good information from Sankokushin and Primal and all this other good stuff in this update, so it's going to be a big month. There's some heavy hitters here for sure. Before I get into that, I want to let you guys know about an end date to my GoFundMe. Now, if you didn't know, my patrons decided to surprise me with a GoFundMe this year. I think they're hoping to do this every year with a lot of support from you guys out there. And thank you so much, by the way, for everything. It's blown me away, and it's very humbling and kind of awkward for me. And I don't know, I'm not used to it. So I just want to thank everybody that's donated for now. And I just wanted to say a few things about this. So first of all, there's been some updates to it. So if you didn't know, they're doing some kind of thank you gifts, or they're going to be giving out some games. And there's some huge stuff, right? I mean, we got champion level, Wild Ascent, O Swarm, Townsfolk Tussle, and Trespass Odyssey, Kingdom of Death Monster, Tainted Grail, Zombicide, all this awesome stuff. They are also actually going to have 3 separate all-in pledges to Mythic Battles Ragnarok. So that's huge as well. So you're going to be getting that also. There's a ton of stuff available for all of you guys, and even like gift cards and stuff. People have been giving so much. And I just wanted to thank you guys for that. The last day for this will actually be on the 4th. So the end of day, January 4th, I think it's Pacific Standard Time. So once that rolls over to January 5th, which happens to be my birthday, which is kind of funny, though I don't think they knew that. We'll be shutting this down, and they'll be kind of finalizing that. And, I'll do what I can to help out with the whole, fulfilling all of this stuff, but it's mostly run by my patrons, and for that, again, I'm incredibly thankful. There is a link down below to this, so if you're interested in donating to the channel as a one-time thing, possibly getting a thank you gift back, I know there's a lot going on here. As you can see, there's a ton of stuff here. Then feel free to follow that link. And again, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. It helps more than you could possibly know, because it helps more than I've ever shared here, but it really does help. So moving on to the actual update stuff, where you can go ahead and pay a company to get a game. Instead, we have ISS Vanguard by Awakened Realms. This is on GameFound. Again, if you've been living under a rock and didn't know, Awakened Realms is now doing their stuff on GameFound, at least with ISS Vanguard. Their AR Light stuff was still on Kickstarter, and I think they're going to kind of have to just judge what they do next, but I'm assuming their next stuff's going to be a GameFound too. It just actually, just now crossed the $3 million mark. It was at $2.99 when I loaded this page up, so congrats to them on that. This is about in line with what they were at Etherfields at this time in the campaign with 6 days left. It's a little hard because their previous stuff was not in USD, and this is in USD, and so, I appreciate the USD, but obviously, 3 million euros is not 3 million USD. So, but from what I can tell in kind of rough calculations, it's about on par with Etherfields, which is incredible considering it's on Kickstarter. So that is huge for them for sure. For updates of what they've been doing, I'm not going to dive too much into everything. They do the normal Awakened Realms thing where you can vote on new species and new aliens and different stuff like that. I'm actually going to go ahead and click on this update number 11. It is improving the core mechanics. And what they're talking about is, hey, we think we did a good job with this prototype and people seem to like it. That being said, it's never a bad idea to take in some feedback and improve things and make things even better. And so that's what they're doing. They're looking into kind of push your luck and rolls because they heard that, that was kind of so-so. And they're looking into doing some ship updates threat mechanics. There's a lot of different things that they're kind of looking at doing, just continuing to improve everything. And I think that is awesome. So props for them for not only doing it, but then highlighting it and taking the time to do an entire update that just says, hey, we're continuing to make this game better. I think that's great for everybody. It's still, I don't think, a game that I would get to the table more than perhaps once. And so with that, I'm not going to go ahead and spend the money on it. I listened to you guys on it. You guys told me, back it, don't back it, all that kind of stuff. And I understand that. But at the end of the day, I don't want to have to force a group of people to play a board game that they don't want to just so I can do a review. And I'm not going to play solo. And so with that, it is what it is. You guys, I'm sure, will enjoy it. And I'll just have to watch from the sideline and continue to look at the beautiful art that they have. And wait to hear what comes next from Awakened Realms. Again, by the way, there's going to be links to all this down below in the description. So if you're interested in anything, your best bet is the description where you can click on any of those links. Unless you're watching on a TV, in which case you're going to have to go to a computer or whip out your phone or something. All right, Dungeon Classics by In Motion Creations. This is their first creation, and these are like some really fancy resin miniatures that just, I think, look really, really nice. They are definitely a stylized version of the classics. So, I mean, this is pretty much a Gauntlet. Like, if you played Gauntlet and you had, or any of those, like, D&D games from old or anything like that, you have the Conan Eschew warrior kind of guy, a little bit younger in the face. You can make it a little bit different. Even with the swooshed hair and everything, you can see how they are 75 millimeter, I believe. And it'll be about $52 for one. So, fair priced for resin minis. That face. For resin minis. I've seen cheaper, I've seen more expensive, I've seen much more expensive. These look nice, especially because it comes with the basing, and it's pretty much set to where it can already go on a plinth, which I think is also great if you want it. But so I really like that. I think that just looks good, and again, they all look great. Love the old dude wizard, the female ranger. This is a great pose, by the way. I think she definitely won with the best base, but I really do like that pose. I'm actually not a fan of that drastic change there in the painting, but pose sculpt wise, miniature wise, I think she definitely won out of all of them. But they all look good. They all look actiony. They all look great. It's a really solid look to these miniatures. And of course, they're, doing stretch goals and add-ons and all that kind of stuff. Definitely coming out strong as a company. So, if you're interested in that, then by all means, take a look. All right. Now, the next few ones that are actually out, and there's just two here, are going to be STLs, or things you can 3D print. And then I'll be talking about stuff that's coming out in January. So there is the Lost Kingdom miniatures, and I'm already scrolled down on this because I was looking at it. If you ever dreamed of the Joan of Arc miniatures and how great they are, and you just wish that they were fully detailed and amazing and great and not 15 millimeters, then this might be something you're interested in. I love the unicorn horn, by the way. This is doing incredibly well, and I think it's well earned by them. They have a Patreon, by the way, where you can get their old stuff and some of the other stuff that they're doing with STLs, which is, I think it's great that they did this 3D printer as well. So that's awesome. But as you can see, detail level is incredible, but it definitely has that kind of Joan of Arc vibe. But I mean, look, you can see how great these are. And of course, as an STL, you can scale it, right? So you can make it tiny or small or however you want. And I think that's great as well. But these look wonderful. They look fantastic. And, yeah, I mean, just good stuff. Looks great. That's free, really? Interesting. Okay. Anyway, they have these sweet Pegasus, by the way, which I think look great. They have a Kelpie. I know somebody on my patron list that might be interested in this guy. We'll scroll down and take a look at him. Again, just some incredible stuff. They're getting into that little fantasy range, which again, Joan of Arc does as well. I really appreciate. Just looks good. So definitely, if you have a 3D printer, this might be something worthwhile. It definitely, I mean, it's impressive. And it cost... Let's get to the Kelpie because I know he wants to see. Oh, well, this is cool too. So this is like, again, like kind of this magic kind of stuff. Anyway, it's like $50. There's the Kelpie. So there's your seahorse. That's like a horse from the sea. Anyway, it looks super cool. And again, they got the fancy cannons and, the Holy Grail, I'm guessing, or, just crazy, like nature, like people coming out. I don't know what's going on. It looks cool is what it is. It just looks neat. So a ton of stuff. They have their old stuff available in their online store if you want it, but that is not an STL. That's just regular minis. Otherwise, you can go to their Patreon and get, all sorts of stuff like this as well. So definitely a cool style and something worthwhile, I think. Next up, we have the Year 1000 3D printable scenery. This is by Dungeon Forge. Again, first time creator here. That being said, I think, again, they're knocking it out of the park, especially when it comes to showing everything that they have and then offering freebies. It's another 3D print, but as you can see, it pretty much has everything you could want. It has different layers of buildings. It has walls. It has floors. You can magnetize it as they're showing here, or you can peg it together. The windows and doors and stuff actually work, which again, super cool. They have scatter terrain. Again, some freebies you can try out so you can see their detail. A lot of good stuff here for sure, and a lot on offer. This can be priced as pretty much as you want, but the basic pack, again, $48, and obviously the link down below. But yeah, see, they got all the props and pretty much anything you could need or want, and then they just keep adding to it. So next one's this big lake one that it looks like they're going to do, which is, again, sounds cool. Okay, now we're going to be going into stuff that will be launching in January, starting with Herobane, and Herobane is set for the 12th, so January 12th. You'll be able to look at Herobane. Now, what is Herobane? Herobane started from some guys who used to work at Magic the Gathering as designers, and they decided to go ahead and make their own kind of cardboard game. What does that mean? Well, if we look over here, we can see, first of all, some of the art. The art style isn't necessarily my type. It's maybe a little bit too stylized, too clean. I don't know. It's fine. It may just be the UI that isn't quite doing it for me. But essentially, you're building a dungeon. You're being the bane to the heroes, and you have to fight heroes. And so you'll be drawing heroes like the Emissary of Clubs or the King's Blade, and you'll be fighting them with your zombie pawns inside of a snake pit. And you'll be doing that by, first you choose like your main one, and they all have a special kind of unique board and then some abilities. And then you're laying your buildings here, whatever. So your snake pit, as you can see, will generate different resources. You can think of it kind of like mana, essentially black dots and red dots. And so you'll be rolling dice to see where you place all this stuff and how many dice for the attacks as you're attacking people, whether it's physical or magical or even both. And it's essentially you building a dungeon and then fighting heroes, and then other people doing that, and then you're at a race for who gets the most victory points, essentially. It's kind of how that plays. It doesn't sound like there's a lot of interaction with the other player, though, so a little unsure about that for me, which is why I didn't take them up on the review offer. But I still looked at it enough to try and help kind of explain a little bit to you guys so you kind of get a sense of what it is. And again, that'll be the 12th. I'll try to update the link a little bit if I need to, but I bet this one will work. You can click the notify me on launch and get notified. All right, the next game to come out in January is Candy Wars. Now, I'm going to give you a specific date because I don't know the specific day. I just know January. So be on the lookout for this soon. There is a preview link that you can go to see this draft page. They have a nice little video here that'll kind of show you a little bit about what you'll be doing with added 3D effects and whatnot, shooting Skittles and Reese's Pieces at people. As you can see, 3D board, score tracking, and it looks a little bit like Arcadia Quest to me, mixed with like the Queen's Gambit old Star Wars board game, which I don't think sounds bad at all. You're playing a group of gnomes fighting a group of either other gnomes or, these kind of evil goblin kind of characters. Just depends on kind of what you're going to do. There's obviously a guy here. He looks very familiar. I don't know who he could be. But yeah, anyway, I will be doing a review of this here very soon. So be on the lookout for the review. I already did the unboxing, so I'll link that down below as well. Again, I got 4 kids. And I like the idea of actual, competitive play and some fun, safe stuff there. Also, painting them sounds actually kind of fun to me just because, again, I love painting with bright colors. So I might be doing that on the side as well. But yeah, no, it looks cool. So I'll let you guys know. But again, this will be sometime this month. And then that's by For Fun, which is actually from Creative Game Studios. who did like the Chronicles of Drunagar, if you remember this one. So they tend to like this kind of fancy boards, I feel, because this is the one that had, see if I can get a good picture here for you guys, if you don't recall, like actual levels to their maps and like gaps and bridges and stuff like that. Let's get out of the minis, come on. Stupid minis. Yeah, so you can see they had like the different tiers here and the pop-up doors that you could go through and stuff like that. So kind of cool, kind of neat, I thought. And it looks like they're continuing that in their next kind of sister project over there. Next up is Bloodstone, and this will be January 26th. We finally have a date. I've been teasing this thing for over a year now, so glad to finally see it. I showed you guys a little bit of it on my last update. Essentially, it's like in a kind of an arena-based game that has like a PvE boss gauntlet style thing as well. There's said to be some really big stand-up moments, like the yes, kind of stuff. There's a lot of dice involved. So it looks kind of PvP and PvE. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to work or how that's going to look, but I guess we'll all find out together. All right, next up is Primal, and this, again, is probably going to be in January, I suspect. Again, I do not have an exact date, though I would suspect late January for Primal the Awakening. Again, I will have a review out for you as well, and that will be very soon. I'm going to try and be posting that towards the, later middle of January. So I'll have a review for you guys as well. So can't wait to tell you guys all about it. Next up, again, probably maybe in January as well. I don't know. There's a little asterisk there. Is CMON's Looney Tunes, Teen Titans Go, Scooby-Doo, whatever junk they're doing, their Mayhem kind of string of games where they have 3 different ones. This was said to be their next campaign. However, and I've been saying this for a while, if we go to news, right, notice this is November 12th, and normally they kind of lead up to it with some dev diaries and stuff like that, and I am not seeing that. So November 12th and then nothing. So, in fact, so much nothing that we actually got a designer diary of Masters of the Universe, a board game, now instead. So maybe they were swapping into that. I don't know. It's just kind of odd to me that they would swap to this instead of continuing on the one that's their next one. So kind of interesting. I don't know exactly what that spells for either one, but there might be some flip-flopping like that. Maybe they haven't decided yet. Just kind of odd to be silent for over a month on the game, on their next Kickstarter. So I don't know. Who knows? Supposedly January, probably, though. All right, next up is some updates. I'm going to start with a little game called Obsidia. This was, again, by Play Particle. It was a very indie game that wasn't getting a lot of love, was struggling to fund, and I thought that was unfortunate because it is beautiful art and actually a kind of cool game, to the point where I went ahead and backed it. Well, not only did I back it, but I should be getting it soon because they are on target for a January or February delivery, so that's right around the corner. This is a little game that you get to, build out a map and kind of fight other people when you have meeples and stuff like that, and adorable kittens do not come with it, sadly, but one can hope, right? Next up, Stormsunder. Now this is big news, so hopefully you're paying attention if you're from the UK. You might have been charged on the 31st. It's a little late, I get that. This was last minute. They did it on the 29th. It's not my fault. They were last minute too. Essentially, the rules are if you're charged on December 31st or before, you don't have to pay the VAT. And so they're trying to avoid a UK VAT rule update by charging you now if they can. So that's just for the UK people. If you saw that, that's why that's a thing. Got some beautiful paintings here. These look fantastic. Also, there is a delay. The delay is multifaceted, but suffice it to say they are looking at November 2021 now. So definitely didn't quite make their goal, but I guess we'll see. I don't know. That's a long ways away still. So who knows when that's going to be here. Next up, Etherfields. This is kind of interesting. So, as you may know, a lot of reviewers had some criticisms of Etherfields. I have not watched them because I haven't done my own review yet. Need a little bit more gameplay in before I give you guys at least my first impressions on that, but I will let you guys know. Spoiler alert, though, I am enjoying it. But, what do I know? I don't know. Anyway, they're looking at a guide that they're going to be sharing today. This right here, as you can see, just kind of these high-level guides and introduction to kind of figure out what's going on, which is kind of nice.
a different board that they're going to be doing, a how to play video that'll be sometime in January, a continuous dream mode that'll have a PDF and ship in Wave 2, essentially story modes. It gets rid of all the grind and the fluff and all that kind of stuff. And maybe an upgraded manual, at least in PDF. Maybe they'll print it as well. So they're definitely taking, again, the criticism, taking it to heart, working on it. I think that's awesome. All right, we're actually wrapping things up here a little bit more. Some big stuff though too. Street Fighters will be delivering actually very soon. In fact, in Austria and New Zealand, you'll be getting it in January. All the schmucks have to wait until February though. But either way, January, February, Street Fighters is finally actually delivering. And Good Joe got his sent. He's paid like $750 to get that sent, which is ridiculous, but he got it all, and that's great too. And he even got the expansions, which he updated later on, which was great as well. Super excited to show that to you guys. Big fan of the IP and just all the effort he's putting into it and the love he's putting into it. I'm really excited. Mortal Kombat will be next, and that'll be coming up here fairly soon as well. All right, now one thing I wanted to show off is the Elementalist. Now this is for Tanares adventures, but also the RPG as well. This is one of the new classes there. And what I wanted to share about this one, this isn't necessarily coming out in January. I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts on one of their miniatures that I have access to. And I guess what I can say is I talk a lot about sculpted bases and how they can give you a unique pose, but they can also help tell the story. I talk about how I always want my miniatures to tell a story. I want it to be like, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, oh, you know what? I bet this happened, or I bet they do this, or I can see they do this, or whether it's travel food pouches or, just stuff like that. It just gives a little bit of world building, and having an actual framed like portal gate, I think is definitely one good way to do that. It looks a little short to me, like she'd have to crouch down a lot to get through that. But it does its job of both framing the miniature, which is also super cool, and really kind of centralizing it, but also, again, just adding kind of to this person that they can just pop in and out and do this kind of stuff, which I think will be super cool in the game. Can't wait to play him for sure. And again, I just thought that was a super cool looking mini. Okay, huge Sankokushin update. And I mean huge. You could read this for forever. There's going to be 2 reveals of miniatures. There's going to be a super big reveal at the very end. And then I'll talk through a scenario that you can find yourself in the game. That sounds pretty crazy. So, first, they're going to show some beautiful art, set some standards up, like, hey, by the way, humanity celebrates sacrifices. Sure, why not? Yay, more sacrifices. Beautiful. I mean, my goodness. Anyway, so this is a thing, apparently, that there's people that are starting to, like, grow roots and have their flowers, petals, pigmented with their blood start appearing on them, and they start seeing things that they shouldn't be able to see. And you can kind of see another interpretation here with the branches coming out and roots going on and stuff like that. So here's the Eyes of Azure. You gain accuracy, that's great. However, if you have this and Blood Edge, you die at the end of the 4th week after you get the second one. So the moment you get this chlorination trait, once you get both of these traits, you're like, oh crap, now we're going to die. Which sounds sucky, right? But you do get buffs too. Well, how do you deal with that? Well, there actually is a way, and it's definitely not that. But first, let's look at a Moth Mini, because the Moth Mini is super duper cool, and I like it a lot. Again, I just think the face with the crazy horns looks cool. The multiple types of wings, I think, look neat as well. So you kind of have this layered version of it, which again, I just think is super cool. Looks great. So they have these tiers of Yumi or Yum or whatever it is. And essentially you can get it like from this. So this is a resin sac. When you're frying the Karakuri, right, you penetrate a cyst of black biomass under the Karakuri's armpit. Gross. And a bead of yellow shiny resin falls on the floor. You place 1 tier Yumi terrain token adjacent to the Karakuri's front, which I'm assuming then you can get. And that treats them, and so then you don't die, which is, again, I think super great, because dying sucks. There is a ton of information here. I'm not going to cover it all. The board game, we all knew this was going to be the game board itself that you're fighting on. They actually added this version as well, and it'll be double-sided, so you can choose which one to do. This is still a work in progress, but if you were concerned about how bright and busy this was, they're going to have a more muted version here. You can see the blade test here. Obviously, nothing is final here. There's like paper components and all sorts of silliness, but you can get kind of an idea of what that looks like. A ton of super cool stuff, though. I mean, definitely a ton of stuff. You even get meme cards, which I think is great. That's obviously the angry lady pointing at the cat sitting at the table, which is super cool as well. But again, a ton of stuff. Different style arts, by the way. As you can see, this is definitely more digital, right, in a lot of different ways. But just so much. I'm going to skip through a lot of this. You are free to read it. Again, there'll be a link down below in the description. I wanted to show you the end reveal, though. But first, another miniature. And that miniature is coming up right now. This is a super zoomed in look. I don't know what the heck's going on here, but dang, right? I mean, yeah, that's great. Look at her pointing nails, man. She needs to clip them. Oh, look, hips. That's right. Miniatures will be in hips plastic. If you know what hips plastic is, it's the very hard plastic that Games Workshop uses. Archon uses it for like their Rampart stuff and some of their newer miniatures like Wolfenstein. Oathsworn is doing it on their push fit hero miniatures, so you'll be getting hips through that. So it's starting to get adopted more in the board game industry. Really high quality stuff though, just pretty much guaranteed. So super excited to hear more about that. And you know what, guys? That's it. That's my update. My throat's going out. It's late. It's 2021. How bad can it be? Right? Hopefully it's not guilty by association. I hope you enjoyed this update. If you did, do let me know. I always like to hear that I helped you guys out in some way. Again, tons of links down below to all sorts of different stuff that I checked out. And if there is an update, let me know about it. I might include it in my next Kickstarter update, which I'm sure we'll have another one here in January. Until then, I need to start reviewing these games. I need Primal will be this month. Candy Wars will be this month. You'll have some good stuff coming out very soon from me. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you really soon.